Yo, what up summoners, what's going on? My name is Nathan Ng and I'm here to run you guys to another Pro Guides High Elo tier list. I don't know about you guys, but I've lost track of the days. Anyway, patch 10.10 has brought some massive buffs and nerfs, and we've seen the meta develop a little bit more. Once again, we're here with our analysts construct a tier list aimed specifically at skilled and elite levels of play on Summoner's Rift solo queue. We're gonna be covering 10.10 patch changes as well, but if you want to see those in depth, make sure that you check out our patch rundown. At the end of the day though, remember that these lists are all speculation and are subject to change in our next videos. For our question of the day, what's something about League of Legends that you appreciate? I like how there are just little Easter eggs all hidden around League. Twisted Fate's AD was buffed to 52 in this patch, just like how there are 52 cards in the deck. There are little things like this that make me feel like this game just goes the extra mile. But you know what would really make them go the extra mile? If they fix the client already. Anyway, let me know what your answers are down below. Finally, make sure to check out our description link and join our Discord. We want to continue to build our community and connect with you guys, so go ahead and hop in and I'll definitely see you guys there. And with that all being said, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Beginning with the top lane, let's run it down. First up, let's talk about the balance changes. Kledd's up first, and his Q's cooldown was increased from 9 to 7 seconds to 11 to 7 seconds. This nerf is huge and we expect his win rate to drop, but not significantly enough to bring him out of the S tier. Kledd's damage remains untouched, and this nerf just means that it's easier to punish Kled when he misses his Qs early on in the game. Players just need to get good and stop missing, and then they'll just find that Kled is still at a similar power level. He's still gonna be really strong, especially since the cooldown scales down to 7 seconds once his Q is maxed. We don't think that this nerf is going to be enough of impact to bring him down. Instead, this nerf just separates the great Kled players from the okay ones, and you could have some window to punish him. In spite of the nerfs, yes, Maokai is going to be going up to the S+ tier for our top laners. He held a whopping 54% win rate in Masters and higher, and the extra 10 mana cost on his Q isn't going to do squat. High elo players can easily adapt to this, and they know how to build some extra mana or a fairy charm early on if this really does become an issue. He's gradually showing that he's too much to deal with for most players, and our analysts believe that he's easily one of the best top laners in the game right now. With Maokai's support becoming such a popular pick as well, Maokai top is much stronger because in unplayable matchups you can just throw him into the support role and then give your top laner a counter pick instead. Rightfully though, if you go up against a Maokai, make sure you take Ignite top lane because, well, fire is just super effective against grass. That's all I'm saying. Irelia, on the other hand, was buffed this patch. Her E's damage has gone up from 70 to 230 to 80 to 260. We expect her to become a much stronger pick in high elo because of this. We've moved her up to the A tier to reflect the significance of this change. Irelia is a hyper-aggressive snowbally champion, so adding on some bonus damage to one of her core abilities is a huge change. In our S+ tier, we still have Darius, Wukong, Fiora, and Maokai. We just talked about Maokai's dominance in high elo, so we don't really expect that to change. Darius, Wukong, and Fiora have been finding a ton of success and play in Platinum and higher. Darius was the most played champion there with just around 150,000 games played. His ban rate has been continuing to climb in high elo, hitting just below 45% as well. It feels pretty good knowing that my feelings towards Darius are validated by the elite players as well, because his ban rate in Masters and higher is still 21%. Someone needs to gank this guy in his own lane. Our S tier consists of Kled, Shen, Jax, and Renekton. We need to keep our eyes peeled, however, because a lot of champions are getting really close to pushing into S tier. Our analysts will be sure to keep you guys updated next patch after sifting through some more data. Expect to see some new champions rise up in this patch. Some of you guys might be wondering why Renekton is still S tier, because if you're doing your own research, you know that his win rate is actually below 50% in Platinum Plus. If you segregate this data into elite brackets, however, you find that Renekton's win rate is actually quite solid. In Masters and higher as well as Challenger exclusively, Renekton has held a 51% win rate. He's extremely safe and popular as well. He's a solid pick to default to, as he's the kind of guy that's never gonna be the worst pick, while oftentimes being a good one. In other words, he's one of the best blind picks because he's able to carry games decently. As a counter pick, however, it's matchup specific, and a lot of the time there's going to be a better champion that you can pick when you know who your opponent is going to be. We've also added Kayn to the B tier. He's been seeing a decent amount of play in the top lane, and he's performing at around an average level. We'll have to give him a little bit more time, however, as players are still optimizing his gameplay as well as builds. Finally, we're going to be mentioning that we're leaving Soraka as unranked for this patch. Her play rate is simply too low for us to place her in a tier right now. Our analysts expect her to be either S or A tier, however, so if you're interested in playing her, give it a shot as well as you're okay selling your soul for some elo. Subjectively, it's a fair trade because, you know, you lose part of your soul every time you queue up for a rank game anyway. And with that all said, let's go ahead and head to the jungle. First up, in the jungle is a nerf. Kayn was popping off way too hard in his red form and it's gotten a nerf as a result. The healing on Ross's passive has gone down from 34.5 to 43% to 30 to 40%. In spite of these nerfs, we still believe that Kayn will be performing exceptionally well as he was underrated in our last video. Thus, we moved him up to the A tier to compensate. Red form, Kayn's sustain and damage output is extremely oppressive. While his early game might be a little weak because his ganks are, underwhelming, he spikes ridiculously hard when he manages to transform and finish a death stance as well. Udyr received a 5 movement speed buff this patch. While this kinda helps him out, Udyr is an extremely unpopular pick in high elo. In fact, in Challenger Games last patch, he was played less than 5 times. In Masters and higher, less than 100. That's a big yikes, and it's safe to say that high elo players won't really value him as a pick. Because of Udyr's low play rate to begin with, we don't see him making a huge surge in high elo with this buff. Players in this bracket understand how to play around Udyr more effectively than in low elo, so he'll remain in the C tier for now. Nidalee also received a buff. Her Q's AP ratio has gone up from 0.4 to 0.5. This means that at max range it's gone up from 1.2 to 1.5. Nidalee was already performing exceptionally well at elite levels of play, and now she's going to be the S tier because of this buff. If you watch our patch rundown, you probably heard our lengthy explanation about how this buff is intended to help out low and mid elo players. Nidalee's high skill floor makes it difficult to find success with her in lower levels of play, but a buff like this is absolutely huge at all levels. We expect Nidalee to dominate the jungle, so you better watch out for her, guys. In our S plus tier, we have Rek'Sai, Elise, Wukong, Graves, and Fiddlesticks still. Picks like Graves, Rek'Sai, and Elise are sitting comfortably near 52% win rate at elite brackets of play. While those win rates are a little bit lower for the platinum and higher range, they're still considerably powerful picks for the lower parts of high elo. Fiddlesticks is slept on and we keep saying it, but we'll keep saying it until more people start playing him, which is kind of ironic because the reason he's so good is because he sucks. Like, literally sucks your soul. In our S tier, we have Lee Sin, Kha'Zix, Rengar, Zac, and our newest members, Nidalee and Olaf. We've moved Karthus down to the A tier because his performance has dropped quite a bit. As opposed to most people's expectations, the movement speed nerf last patch took a bigger hit than expected. Our analysts had pointed out that counterpicks would be much more stronger against Karthus as he struggled to run away and chase people down. But it appears that Karthus is having a much more difficult time in all matchups as a result of this. After all, without his ultimate, Karthus is only frightening if he can stay in range of Q. Less movement speed makes this a little bit harder. Olaf, on the other hand, has seen a huge random surge of popularity and his win rate has been climbing. This is likely in response to the Trundle nerfs as well from the last patch. Trundle is one of the few duelists who could put up a fight against Olaf, and without Trundle to keep him in check, Olaf is still running rampant in the jungle. His incredible damage output and high tempo gameplay gives high elo players the edge that they need to win their games. And that's it for the jungle, so let's go ahead and talk about the mid lane next. Our mid lane tier list sees a ton of shifts this patch, but first, let's go ahead and talk about those balance changes. First up, Annie received a buff. She's not the most popular pick in high elo, so let's hope that this boosts her play rate. She's a little bit underrated for sure, and we expect her to pop off a little bit more. Her E's damage reduction has gone up from 10 to 22 to 13 to 29%, while her ultimate's passive aura damage has gone from 10 to 20 damage plus 10% of her AP to 20 to 40 damage plus 12% of her AP. For now, we're keeping her in the B tier because of her low play rate, but our analysts will update you guys next patch as they think that she might be A tier material. Twisted Fate also received some nice little buffs this patch. First up, his base damage has been increased from 49.954 to 52, or we could just round up from 50 to 52. This helps him last hit and push waves for sure. His ultimate's mana cost has also gone down from 150 to 100, making it much more viable for him to ult as soon as he hits level 6. Twisted Fate is on the cusp of being an S tier pick because of this change, but once again, make sure to hit that sub button so we can keep you guys updated next patch. We might even mention it in our mid-patch update next week. We've been waiting for Katarina nerfs for a while now and they finally come. Riot has heard out the outcries of the community and her passive has been nerfed. At level 1, 6, 11, and 16 respectively, the ratio has been reduced from 55, 70, 85, and 100% to 55, 66, 77, and 88%. Katarina was being an impressively dominant force in high elo and this nerf is absolutely warranted. We don't think it's enough to take her out of the meta completely, but it's definitely a decent attempt at toning down her power. We've dropped her down from the S plus tier to the S tier in response to these nerfs. Diana's base health was also nerfed this patch. Fun fact, she also lost 0.04 AD, which means that she's basically unplayable now. Just kidding, this literally means nothing. However, what is sizable is that her starting health was reduced from 594 to 570. Diana will remain in the S tier, but she'll definitely feel more volatile in snowballing matchups. This nerf is specifically targeted at aggressive 1v1 matchups where a single solo kill can alter the course of the game altogether. Now, let's go ahead and run through the tier list. Our S+ tier has gone through a makeover, completely. This is the most massive shift that we've seen ever since we started the series actually. Our S+ tier now consists of Talon alongside 3 newcomers, Cassiopeia, Zoe, and Galio. First up, Cassiopeia has been doing extremely well in high elo for a while now. All the way from Platinum to Challenger, Cassiopeia holds a high play rate as well as win rate. Her incredible scaling, or rather just scales because she's a snake, damage output, and crowd control make her a reliable mid laner. Zoe's also doing extremely well. She's quite safe and heavily impacts the game with her ridiculous burst damage. Landing a single E can lead to a pick, instantly shifting the tides of fights. She also gets free summoner spells, so like, Riot, come on. Galio has also been moved to the S+ tier considering that he's an absolute monster in Challenger lobby specifically. In Platinum and higher, he's held a 51% win rate last patch and he's definitely on the strong side for sure. But in Challenger lobbies, he's peaked at 55% win rate, which is absolutely nuts. His side lane impact as well as safe laning allows him to hold a ton of agency in games. Especially since Twisted Fate is expected to see more play this patch, we expect Galio to rise up as an excellent answer to those global ports. Our S tier now consists of Diana, Vladimir, Fizz, Wukong, Syndra, Katarina, and Echo. Echo is still a solid pick because of his potential to flex pick as a jungler, but he hasn't been performing as well as before, likely because of the types of champions that are in the meta right now. They're either able to bully him out or apply more map pressure than him. Next up, let's go ahead and run through the bottom lane. Miss Fortune finally got nerfed. Her movement speed on her passive has decreased from 60 to 100 to 50 to 90. She's a little bit more abusable than before, but this won't affect her placement in the S+ tier for now. Miss Fortune's lane dominance is too valuable, where players heavily place value on dragon control. Ultimately, while Miss Fortune is more susceptible to all-ins and ganks than before, it's not by much and we don't think that her win rate will drop by that much, if at all. Sivir on the other hand got buffed this patch. Her E's mana refund went up from 80 to 140 to 110 to 150. As Sivir has been underperforming significantly in high elo, we don't think that these buffs will be enough to bring her up a tier. However, they definitely help, and her win rate will, without a doubt, increase since this buff should give her more mana to clear waves with. She'll remain in the C tier for now, but we'll continue to watch her data as the patch plays out. Our tier list only features a couple of changes. In our S+ tier, we still have the same old Miss Fortune and Ezreal. As always, their safety and reliability makes them the most popular picks in high elo as well. The first change is to our S tier. It now consists of Senna, Cass, Draven, Heimerdinger, and Varus. Like we said when we were talking about Miss Fortune, lane dominance is paramount. Draven and Varus are becoming increasingly popular in high elo because of their abilities to dominate the laning phase. Varus' ban rate has increased ridiculously. From just 10.8 to patch 10.9, his ban rate has doubled from 9% to 18% out of the blue. This ban rate continues to go up as you analyze the data from even higher elo. In Challenger, for example, Varus has held a 40% ban rate. That's ridiculously high as Varus was under the radar for quite a while. We've also moved Jhin up to the B tier because he's been performing quite well. He's rather safe and it never hurts to have some extra utility as well. And that covers the bot lane, so let's go ahead and talk about the supports. First up, Soraka has been buffed. Her Q's damage went up from 75 to 215 to 85 to 225, while her W's health refund when rejuvenated went up from 60 to 100% to 80 to 100%. While this buff definitely makes her stronger in the bottom lane, it also gives her more damage as a top laner. We expect to see her pop off in both roles. An 80% refund, which is 1 point in an ability, is quite ridiculous. So we expect to see Soraka being an extremely impressive force in the bottom lane off this change. For now, however, she will remain in the A tier because she still struggles in elite levels of play. Around Platinum and Diamond, she's doing well and we expect her to do better, but until she finds success in Master and higher, we can't move her up on that list. In response to funneling still being a powerful strategy, Taric has been nerfed once again. This health per level has gone down from 90 to 85, and his W's bonus armor from 10% to 20% to 10 to 14%. Ultimately, this won't really affect him too much, but these nerfs aren't necessarily outrageous, but as long as players are still using their ultimates properly, they shouldn't be dying before at least he casts his ultimate. We're also keeping him in the A tier for now. Our tier list sees a few shifts. When considering the power of support, it often feels like the strength can be assessed by asking yourself a simple question. How much do I hate playing against this champion? Another way of interpreting this question is, what is this champion's ban rate? Anyway, enough of that. Let's go ahead and talk about our S+ and S tier. In our S+ tier, we have Senna and Bard. Our analysts have bumped these two to their own tier for different reasons. Senna has found some new lane partners to abuse the fasting Senna strategy with. Namely, we've seen Senna Maokai bot lanes being played more often in professional play as well as solo queue. We expect to see more innovation to develop off of this, and regardless, Senna is an extremely powerful support because of the fact that she can just enable these kinds of strategies. While she's able to role swap with the support and allow them to get extremely fed, she also continues to scale up incredibly well. Senna doesn't need that much gold to impact the games, which is kind of crazy, and she holds a ton of agency in high elo. Bard is here because he's easily in the top 3 when considering supports based off of lane dominance and roam power. He just rolls other supports, and it kind of makes sense because his face is like a bowling ball. He outclasses most champions in these two fields, and these are arguably the ways that supports can carry games and win most effectively, winning their lane and winning lanes for their other teammates. In the S tier, we have Thresh, Leona, Blitzcrank, Lulu, and Yuumi. We've moved Lulu and Yuumi up there because of their ban rates, and they're just absolutely obnoxious. Like we were hinting earlier, players hate playing against all of these champions. Yuumi currently holds a 40% ban rate in high elo. In the same way that top laners hate playing against Darius, mid laners hate playing against Yasuo, and junglers hate playing versus Grace and Wukong, supports players hate, and I mean absolutely hate, playing against Yuumi. I think even Yuumi players hate playing Yuumi. The utility of all of these champions in the S tier provided is rather impressive. Lulu is proving to be rather a difficult enchanter to play against because of her W. It's a versatile ability that either enables a teammate or renders an enemy temporarily useless. And that concludes our 10.10 high elo tier list. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and stay updated with our different kinds of content that we're going to be releasing. Also, like I mentioned earlier, check out ProGuides.com if you're serious about climbing this season. Again, my name is Nathan Ng, and if you want to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, it's at Nathan_ING. If you want to play some League of Legends together, make sure you drop by that Discord, and I'll definitely exchange some contacts with you guys. Until next time, see you guys in the comment section down below and on the Rift. Stay healthy and stay safe. Have a good one, guys.